Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a video kind of to go with the new year. Well, yeah, pretty much to go with the new year. I wanted to do kind of like how I'm going to set my 2017 goals and how I kind of set my my goals for like while I'm 19. Like on my birthday, I set some like personal goals for myself, obviously personal goals for myself. So this is how I did that, and this is how like my year for 2017 goals, how I'm planning them out. But the first step into how I set my goals is to first make a list of general goals. I mean, they can be somewhat specific, but just kind of what do you want to accomplish? What do you want the end goal to be? So make that list. It doesn't really matter how many. Obviously, the more that you put down, the more time you're gonna have to put into each of those goals, and it might be harder to accomplish 25 goals or, you know, a large amount of goals for a whole entire year. So I would try to be very realistic with yourself. If you think that you can do all 25 of those goals, then awesome. I'm not saying that you should lower your expectations, because you shouldn't, but I'm just saying make it realistic for yourself, so that way, not that you don't want to disappoint yourself and you don't want to overwhelm yourself. So make it realistic for you, whether that's 20 goals because you decided to take off a semester from school, or if that's 5 goals because you are going to school and you're going to work and you have a baby on the way, or, you know, make it fitting for you and your stress levels, and just make it so what you feel good about and what is realistic to you. So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is to prioritize. So if your number 1 goal is to travel this year, so in 2016, that was my goal. I wanted to travel as much as I could, anywhere. I didn't even care. I just wanted to travel more. And so if that's your first goal, then you know that you need to spend the most time planning, the most time executing, the most time focusing on that specific goal. Not to abuse any of your other goals, but you just know where your priorities are and what is your go-to. Prioritize your 10, 15, 20 goals, and just kind of, that doesn't mean you need to necessarily spend the most time on those goals, but definitely focus on those goals and just know in the back of your mind, this is what I'm shooting for this year. This is what is the most important to me. So after you've done those 2 steps, then step number 3 is going to be breaking down each of those goals into smaller goals or smaller time frames, or something to condense it. Not to condense it, but just to you want to make a shorter term goal or several short-term goals to get that big end result of what you would like to accomplish. So for example, we'll just keep going with traveling. If you want to travel more this year, what is necessary to actually get to that end goal? So you need to plan, you need to research, you need to, if you're really worried about spending a lot of money, you need to, I have an app on my phone where it tracks flights, and it will tell me, okay, this is the lowest flight that we've seen to Bali in the last 6 months, or this is what the flight is at currently. We predict it's gonna go down $60. Whatever, I have an app for that. So set some smaller goals that are going to get to your big picture goal. For me personally, if I know that I set a goal in 1 year from now, December 2017, I want to do X, Y, and Z. Okay, well, I know that I have 12 months to accomplish that goal, so I'm not gonna start working on it until it's October, November, whatever. So if you kind of take that big goal and that you want to accomplish in a long amount of time and condense it down into a small term, short term goal, just a bunch of them, then it's going to keep yourself more accountable. It's going to be more realistic for you to get to that goal because you're working towards it. You're planning, you know, okay, in 1 week, I want to be able to book my flight. In 1 month, I want to make sure that I have the equipment I need to go backpacking. These are just some examples. You obviously need to figure out what those specific short goals are going to be for you. There's a lot of planning into goal setting. People don't realize, they just want to be like, you know what, I think I want to fly to Australia in the next year. Okay, well, where in Australia? Where do you want to see? What do you want to do? How are you going to get there? Where are you going to stay? What price range are you looking for? There are so many factors that go into one huge goal, and not just with traveling. If you want to own a business in the next year, you need to make a damn business plan. You need to find some money. I mean, you could already have money, but you're gonna want a big chunk of money set aside for your personal life, because I'm sure that you're gonna have to dip into that. There's so many factors into what people want as their big goals for a year. You can do this with 5-year goals. You can obviously do this with any kind of goal setting. But so that's step number 3, is to just break down. There's gonna be 20 steps that go into that one goal. There's gonna be so many more steps than you really realize when you're making that goal. And so you need to write those down, plan them out, make a timeline for those so you can keep yourself accountable and so you can ultimately reach that goal. That sounded, I don't know, I just got like, but honestly, if you just say, this is my goal, I'm gonna get there. If you don't set out a path to get to that end goal, it's gonna be really hard to get there. I'm not saying that you can't get there. I'm not saying that things are gonna change on the way there and you're gonna change out G for F and switch them around, or, you know, change out 3 and 5. I'm not saying that it can't be altered. I'm just saying that if you have a path and you know generally, I need to get this done by this time, and then I'm moving on to this, and I need to be thinking about this at this time. If you have just a plan in set, you are going to be way better off than just, oh yeah, in the next year I want to do this, and I'm going to figure it out as I go. And I know some people are just like that, and that's totally okay. I just feel like this is what works best for me and what keeps me accountable and what will really drive me to get to that end goal. I'm not trying to offend anyone. If I'm saying I don't do it this way, then, and it works for you, dude, awesome, it works for you, you do it. But for me, I just need to keep myself accountable, and it's easier for me to have a plan. I'm not gonna get stressed out when I procrastinate it, because I'm not procrastinating, and that's just how I feel. Once you have that list of 10, 15, however many steps you break it down into, and I suggest breaking it down into many steps as possible, because that way you know that you're thinking of every single aspect and you aren't going to be shocked when you need a visa to fly to Australia. I wonder why. You know, you're gonna have less surprises that won't bump around your timeline, it'll just make it a much easier transition into the next step and the next step and the next step. So the more steps you have, the better. Not to stress you out, it's just so you plan everything so it will be less stressful for you, if that makes sense. What is it? Step 4, after you planned everything, or after you've step-by-step everything, have a timeline. So if you have 52 steps and it's gonna take you a whole entire year to get to that, then you need to have a weekly goal. If you only have 20 steps, then you need to have you're making those goals bi-weekly. And obviously it doesn't need to be just a yearly goal. This can be for whatever time you have, whatever time limit you specifically want for X, Y, and Z. But don't just do it and, okay, well, I have 52 goals or 52 steps, and so I'm gonna do one per week, because not all the steps are gonna require the same amount of time. And if it's easier for you to just plan out 1 month and then the next month reevaluate, I would suggest doing this. Plan out 1 month, 1 week, whatever timeline that you have for yourself. I would do 1 month. I want to get these 5 steps done. And I think that this step could take me 2 days, and so I'm gonna fit it in here. And then this step is gonna take me 2 weeks, so I'm gonna fit in here. And time slot it so you know, okay, if I don't have it done by this day, I need to get my ass in gear. I just need to be more accountable. I'm not doing what I need to do to get my goal, and this is my high priority goal for the year. Why am I not doing it? So, and then at the end of the month, you can reevaluate, okay, well, this step took me longer than I had originally planned, and this step that I have for the next month is very similar, and I think that I need to create more time for this. And then within those months, set out weekly goals. Okay, so that way when the week passes, you know exactly what you're doing. You're planning it out step by step, so you know where you need to be at every moment with that specific goal. And I know that this could get super overwhelming when you have 6 main goals for a year and you're trying to do everything. I'm not saying that you need to have a small goal for each individual big goal every single week or every single day. You get to break it up and personalize it to what is in your priority goal and what is gonna fit best with your schedule around your work, school, etc. etc. That sounded so dumb. Etc. So what I'm trying to say is, to get to this big end goal, if you can dense it down, set smaller goals for yourself, and keep yourself on track, keep yourself accountable, then you're gonna reach those end goals. And honestly, this is just what works best for me. This is what I find is awesome for me, and I can get things done this way. If I just, for example, if I say I need to clean my room this week, okay, well, usually I'll plan that for my day off. But then on my day off, I get to my Friday or whatever my day is off is that week, and I'm like, oh, it's been such a long work week. Oh, boo-hoo, I feel so bad for myself. I want to treat myself. I want to do this for an hour, and I want to take myself out to lunch, and da-da-da. And the day goes on, and then I didn't clean my room that week. And so I'm like, okay, well, it's Sunday now, and I didn't do this week, so I gotta do it now. Or, I'm just gonna do it the next week. So for me, planning things out and setting some hard goals for myself, I am not going to do this, is going to be really helpful for me. Something that I really want to do this year is be more accountable with my time wasters. So if you've seen my Tea Talk with Taylor video, my very first one, I talked about technology and how phones and the internet just kind of have been consuming people's lives in general. So for me, kind of what I envision for 2017 with how I'm going to kind of separate myself from my phone, or how I'm just going to be more accountable with how much time I'm spending on my phone, is I'm going to set my timer. If I go on YouTube and I decide that I want to watch some YouTube videos, okay, I'm going to set an hour timer. So I know as soon as that timer goes off, that's it. As soon as that video is done, then I'm done with YouTube that day. And it's not that I can't enjoy my phone, I'm just being more aware of how much time I'm actually spending on my phone, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna set an hour to do YouTube, to watch YouTube, strictly for fun. YouTube. And then I'm gonna set 2 hours to film and edit a video. Just kind of be more aware of where you're putting your time, because so many people are like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. Okay, well, what are you doing to get to that goal? Oh, well, it's just kind of something that I want to do. Well, what are you doing in your spare time that is taking up so much of your time where you can't fit in time for your actual priority, what you want to do? You know what I'm saying? So that for me is one of the goals that I have, and a way that I am going to do it. I don't need to make out a plan, because that's just going to be a hard set goal. I'm going to be setting timers for 15 minutes for social media, hour for YouTube, and kind of adjusting it as I go through my year to see what fits best for me, what feels best for me, and how I want to use my time. Okay, I feel like that video was a little bit all over the place, I'm sorry. But those were like my four or five steps into how I'm gonna be setting my goals for this new year. And yeah, if you guys have any really big goals, or just any goals, honestly, I would love to hear them in the comments. I have a lot of big goals for myself. I'm really gonna focus on my self-development, self-improvement this year. So I'm really excited for this year and everything that I am planning to achieve. So if you enjoyed this video, if you would like to subscribe, there's a little red button down below. Give me a thumbs up, all that jazz. And I'm excited for 2017. I hope you guys are too. And I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching.